What up, world? It's your boy Chuck Wick, ill, aka Charles Brown, back again for another Talking Facts. But first, I want to ask you, are you good? Good. All right, man. Your boy Eddie Murphy is back. Coming to America 2 has dropped after many years of speculation. Coming to America is the sequel to Coming to America because they got the number 2 in the middle. It's called Coming to America, which they, instead of saying Coming to America Part 2. Your boy Eddie Murphy's back. Arsenio Hall, John Amos, James Earl Jones, yada, yada, yada. Based on the classic 1988 movie Coming to America. I was a mere child, but I was old enough to understand it. I wasn't even a child like that. I was a teenager at that point, but yeah, man. Classic movie, one of the greatest movies in history. This was when Eddie was on fire, man. Coming to America, Harlem Nights, Boomerang, Trading Places, Golden Child. That's over a span of a couple years. You know, that's like a 10-year span. But Eddie was the man. Beverly Hills Cop. Man, they was throwing Eddie even in some garbage movies just to get them, just to sell the movie out. I remember he did something with Dustin Hoffman. I can't remember what it was. They was in the desert or something. Yeah, man. Eddie was on fire. Eddie was the next Richard Pryor for us. And I was already a Richard Pryor fan because I grew up with Richard, but Eddie was the new Richard, and he just could do no wrong. And when Coming to America dropped, that was the pinnacle of Eddie. Like, Eddie was Eddie. Wasn't nobody messing with Eddie. And a lot of people have a lot of nostalgic things when it comes to Eddie Murphy, and especially Coming to America. I know a lot of people that look at Coming to America as the Holy Grail. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like these waters, you can't tread on them. In many years, we've been hearing about this supposed sequel that may drop. It might come out, this, that, and the third. And, you know, we heard Tiffany Haddish going to be in all these. This before even Tiffany Haddish was even famous. We was talking about this sequel. And I never thought they was going to do it. And they said for many years they wasn't going to do it. But lo and behold, about 2 years ago, they said it was 100% a go. Before the pandemic, they were saying they was going to do this movie. I started hearing these different names attached to it, and as it grew, you started hearing Leslie Jones and all these different people was going to be in it. And it finally dropped, which I was surprised they dropped it on Amazon as just an Amazon movie. I mean, you know, I guarantee you they was going to put it in theaters before COVID came, but then COVID came. All right? So, long story short, when I heard that this movie was coming out, I didn't even know the premise. I didn't even know the script was even done. I didn't know who was going to be in it, but I said, I guarantee you this. There's going to be a lot of people that hate even the fact of the thought of them making this movie. I didn't even want to make this movie until they said they was going to make it. I'm not a big let's have a sequel guy, but I'm not closed off to sequels. Like Karate Kid, right? Karate Kid just brought out Cobra Kai. I was literally one of the first people. When I first heard that, I was like, I'm watching that no matter what channel is on, no matter what I got to do to watch it. They put that thing on YouTube Red. Nobody was paying for YouTube Red. Who was buying that? Nobody. I started buying YouTube Red, paying, I believe it was like $13. And I only got YouTube Red to watch Cobra Kai. And I was highly pleased with Cobra Kai. I was like, I don't need to watch none of this other stuff. These other shows are corny, but I'm getting this channel for Cobra Kai. I watched the first season of Cobra Kai. I loved it. I was like, Johnny's back. Daniel's back. I think they even showed his mom for like 4 seconds. Everybody's back. It was great. And everybody responded to it. It was 80s. And they didn't try to make it you can't make these sequels without putting the kids into it. You just can't. Like, Full House came back, they Fuller House now. And, you know, all these different shows, when they come back, they got to have the people from now, they got to update it a little bit, have the kids that's currently, because these people going to have kids 9 times out of 10, so you got to add the kids in, and you got to add the new storylines, but you still got to keep it old. You still got to remember the people that was in it. So that's what they did with this. Eddie is back, and Simi is back. You know, Prince Hakeem, Simi, everybody. I didn't see that they didn't have the mom. I don't know if the mom passed away in real life. I don't know. I really can't tell you. But she's not in the movie. His mom. But and the sister's not in the movie. Lisa's sister. And Soul Glow, he ain't in the movie. But it really wasn't no place for him. It wouldn't have made no sense for Daryl. Based on this script they put, you can only throw Daryl in there for 2 seconds. It wouldn't make no sense for Daryl to be in here. He's not a part of the script. He's not a part of the storyline, so it wouldn't make no sense for him or the sister. I mean, it probably would have been funny to have him and the sister in there some kind of way. But they weren't. But other than that, this movie, in my opinion, so it touched on everything. It showed you, starts off with McDowell. We're back in McDowell's. You got the guy, Rich. I can't remember his last name. Richard, the heavyset white guy that was, I'm on lettuce this week, and next week I'll be on fries. That guy, right? And you got Mr. McDowell, John Amos. He's still running it, but apparently he's in Zamunda running it now, and that's what it looked like to me. That the whole McDonald's is in Zamunda. They still in trouble with McDonald's, but that's where it's at. And they're still, they're still a family, and they're raising their 3 daughters. I believe it was 3 daughters, and he has this random son he never heard of and never knew about that has been living in Queens with a one-night stand that he didn't know he did because she was smoking weed. He got high, and then she did her thing with him, got pregnant. Apparently the king knew all these years, and Simi knew, but he didn't know. So they get this random kid. The kid is 30 years old, still scalping tickets with his uncle. He doesn't know, really much else than just doing little hustles on the street. And the uncle's Tracy Morgan. You know how wild he is. He's Tracy Morgan. So all of that. Wesley Snipes is in the village next to him. I think it's next Dorian's or something like that. He's the general of that village, and he's basically there as an antagonist because when Prince Akeem's father dies, Prince Akeem will become King Akeem, and they all know that he's too soft, and this guy, Wesley Snipes, the general, is going to assassinate him, right? Spoiler alert. So, with all that being said, the premise is if he doesn't have a male son, he won't, the general won't let him live. He'll take over, he'll kill him and take the country from him. They tell him about this son that's in Queens, yada, yada, yada. He goes and finds his son, brings him back, and now the son got to pass a series of tests. And to make matters worse, the woman that Prince Akeem was going to marry in the first one is the sister of the general who he left her in the first one. Now that's his sister, so the general got a grudge against him already. He brings his son to the new son to the moon. And now the general's daughter, he wants the general's daughter to marry the son, which is Tiana Taylor's the daughter. She looked fire in this joint. So, long story short, you already know where this is going. He gonna fall in love with somebody else that's not her, and he gonna leave her and try to, break the tradition again and whatever. And that's gonna lead to drama with Eddie Murphy and the general, because if he don't marry his daughter like he said he was gonna do, he gonna kill him and take over. The 3 daughters are well trained in fighting, and they've been training for this for their whole lives, and now they're going to have to somehow defend this place from this general. They fight the general, yada, yada, yada. This kid runs back to Queens and marries the girl that he met in Zamunda. He fell in love with her pretty quickly. The whole premise is ridiculous, but it's all about, the entire thing has always been ridiculous. And this is my thing. It's just like Star Wars and all these other movies. If you're going to watch a movie that's supposed to be fantasy driven, then it is what it is. You're going to suspend your belief, and you're going to accept some stuff. Everything not going to make sense. Everything not going to be, he met this girl and fell in love with her in 2 days, and now he wants to marry her and throw away everything in the kingdom. That's not real life, but none of this is real. You think a prince spun a globe, pressed it, and landed in Queens, and then ended up in a roach-infested apartment and met Lisa McDowell, who's working at McDonald's with her dad. Like, you think none of this is realistic, bro. You think a man with a shotgun going to come in a restaurant and he's going to trip him up with a stick and flip him and take the gun? None of this is realistic, so you got to suspend your belief. And that's where I begin my review of this movie. It's not necessarily a review, but I feel like people was going to hate this movie no matter what. It was always going to be 50-50 split, and it was always going to boil down to if you wanted the sequel, you did it. If you wanted the sequel like I did, you're going to accept what they give you. You're going to be like, oh, that's funny. Or whatever. I loved seeing this guy, that guy. I love seeing, oh, she's back, he's back. Oh, they threw Salt and Pepper in there. Oh, now In Vogue is in there. Oh, snap, Gladys Knight is in there. This is dope. This is black cinema at its best. Like, it's whatever. Or you're going to be like, that's corny. I ain't laughed once. This is stupid. That don't make no sense. Oh, my God, I can't watch this. They messed this up. They messed up the original. They messed up a class. It's how you go into the movie from the beginning, right? If your mind is open to being like, I want to see where Prince Akeem is at with his life, what happened after, he left Queens and went back and renounced his throne and then didn't have to renounce it. Like, all of that, I want to see what happened. They wrote the first one, you saw what happened. Now they wrote another one, you saw what happened. It is what it is. Take it or leave it. These people get so worked up in the first one was so amazing. You know what I'm saying? We all agree. We love the first one. A lot of people didn't even barely watch the first one, right? A lot of people are saying, "Oh my God, the first one." They was 4. They wasn't even born yet. These people the movie was 10 years old when they was born. The movie was already 10 years old when they finally saw it. But they're gonna tell you, how good the next one should be or not be. I watched this movie in the theater, bro. You know what I'm saying? I saw the amazement of how amazing this movie was. I took it for what it is. Just like I'm going to refer back to Star Wars. Star Wars was horrible. And I loved every minute of it. You cannot tell me any of that makes any sense to you. The very first Star Wars, a farm boy on Tatooine, and now he's fighting for the rebellion, and it's crazy, it's nonsense, right? The entire thing, he finds 2 droids in the desert. How does C-3PO and R2-D2 even get through the desert? Just start there. It's nonsense. But people now are more savvy, quote unquote, and we've been watching movies for a very long time. And not to mention, these kids these days, they are very, very tuned in with everything they're watching, everything being broken down on YouTube, and everything is being dissected. And so they're too smart for a lot of this stuff, right? I say it all the time. The original stuff that we revere so much, if it come out now, it would be absolutely destroyed. If the original Coming to America came out right now, the original one, they would slam that movie as garbage, right? Garbage. They would pick that thing apart. They pick everything apart now, right? They really, most stuff that even gets any type of, if it's not the most upper echelon superhero movie or some straight up rated R, sex-filled, like, hardcore film with sex, guns, violence, drugs, and it's just the darkest levels of humanity, or the most betrayal that you have, that's all people want to see. They don't want to see, what's the last universally loved comedy you've seen? Even Borat gets dissed. You know what I'm saying? So, right now, you can't take any of this stuff serious. Everything is garbage. Everything is harsh. Everybody's critique is just over the top. And I say all that to say this. I like this movie. I love this movie. I'm going to watch it again because I understand it's just a movie. I don't like every movie. A lot of movies I think is dumb as hell. A lot of movies I think are trash. A lot of movies I think the scripts are terrible. But when you're going to talk about nostalgia, when you're going to take a movie from the 80s, right? You can't walk into that with your own misconceptions of what it should be, what it should not be. That's when you come out saying, this was trash, this was garbage. I'm going to go back one more time to Star Wars. I went into all 3 Star Wars. Well, like, the last 6, right? Yeah, the 3 with Anakin, weird. But they weren't no better or worse than the ones we got at first. Yes, we had Han Solo and we had Luke. They were great characters. They were amazing actors. They tapped into something. Princess Leia, All of them tapped in, and we fed into it, and we loved it. And yes, these movies lack stuff, and then we're picking at them, and the storylines are all over the place. We get that. But at the end of the day, the very first 3 Star Wars, when you peel back the layers, they made no sense. But we accepted it because it was fantasy, and we were young. Right? We were young. You can't expect someone... I'm sure somebody 50 years old back then that watched the original Star Wars laughed at it, thought it was ridiculous. We're talking about 13-year-old people that love Star Wars. Right? 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds. Those are the people that are 50 now talking about that movie was a classic. It wasn't no classic. It was ridiculous. And we loved it. It was absolutely ridiculous. All of it. All of it. Everything about Star Wars was ridiculous. It made no sense. But we loved all of it. Boba Fett. All that stuff. Right? And this is the same way. It's nostalgia. You're taking a ridiculous premise from the beginning, and you're trying to put all this stuff from 2021, the way we think now. This is a ridiculous premise from the beginning. Zamunda don't even exist. Right? Zamunda doesn't exist. How is a prince going to be able to leave without no one knowing? And go all the way to Queens. And no one knows. The father thinks he's down the street and he's sending messages for $1 million. What are we talking about? If you believe that, you're a moron. So if you fed into Coming to America when it first came out, and you loved it, right? Not saying you have to love this, but if you're picking it apart for the stuff that you didn't get, or what you thought should have been in it, or who did this and that, you're missing the point of it. Right? People are mad. It's trash. It's garbage. I didn't laugh once. First of all, in the first one, there were mad moments where there's nothing happening. There's no laughter. It's just the story is building and you're starting to see. It wasn't like the entire movie. You were just keeled over laughing. That's not the charm of Coming to America. It's not all about the joke. It's about you felt connected to Prince Akeem. You felt connected to his story. It's not nonstop. If you watch the first one right now, you're not going to be nonstop laughing. You love the entire project for what it represents from beginning to end. It wasn't a million jokes, and you were dying. Yes, it's some funny parts, but it's some stuff in there that just he's saying to be loved, to be loved. What's funny? That is a part that is heart touching, and it brings you a kinship to this man. You know what I'm saying? You're not bent over laughing. Oh my God. It's how funny it is. It's about the story from beginning to end. You got your right not to like it, but not like it for the right reasons. Right? So my thing is, I don't put this much onto in summary, I don't put this much thought into these 80s remakes. These people get so worked up trying to dissect it from minute 1 to the very end. If you give them too much nostalgia in the movie, it was just a money grab, all nostalgia, no substance. Then if you don't give them enough nostalgia, it was no relevance to the last movie. It's just, you can't please these people. So I wouldn't even try, bro. I like the movie. I have no problem with people who don't like it. I would never criticize somebody who doesn't like it. It's fine that you not to like it, right? My whole thing is, if you don't like it, you ain't got to beat nobody over the head that do like it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't go in with no preconceived notion that this was going to be the greatest thing that ever happened. I wanted to just enjoy the movie. I thought it had some cute parts in it. I liked a lot of the movie. I wanted to see where it went, and it went where it wanted to go. I will say this movie is a great movie if you're really a person that's going to sit and just take it for what it is. It is what it is. It ain't this freaking masterpiece of Shakespeare. It's just goofy stuff that's with a fake pretend king, a fake pretend prince with a fake pretend family. None of it's real. You're taking it too serious, bro. And with that being said, I give this movie out of 10 for me, right? For me, this is easily an 8. Easily. But it's not about the movie. It's about the nostalgia of the movie. And I like the nostalgia of the movie. So I'm going to leave it at that. Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, hit the button, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to catch y'all on the flip. All right? Peace.